Hi everyone, this is Krista. Today we're going to be doing a pelvic floor and core workout. Now, your core is really everything through your torso, not including your appendages, so kind of everything through your hip complex all the way up to your shoulder complex. But in terms of the work that we're going to do together today, we're really going to work on everything between your diaphragm, which is a muscle that runs all the way 360 degrees kind of right under your rib cage, and your pelvic floor, which is the muscles that are right on the base of your pelvis. And those two, the diaphragm and the pelvic floor, really work together to support your core. So they kind of work in tandem, right? They're parallel to each other. And how we stabilize is when we optimally are using both our diaphragm and the muscles of our pelvic floor. And we're going to start sending a lot of information to our brain about those two spaces in our torso. And that's going to help us begin to improve that communication between our muscles and our brain in regarding our pelvic floor and our diaphragm and how those two work together. So we're going to start by doing just a very quick warm up. And we're just going to start moving with some head nods. So I want you to come to your mat and prop yourself up on your elbows. So elbows are right under your shoulders. Let me scoot forward a little bit. And you're going to start by just breathing. So breathe in through your nose, let that belly expand, and breathe out through your nose. We'll take 3 breaths like that together. Breathe in through your nose, and out through your nose. Tongue is on the roof of your mouth. Breathe in through your nose and out through your nose. And now we're going to add some head movements to our breath. So continue breathing, but you're going to lead with your eyes as you look towards the ceiling. Breathe in through your nose, let that belly expand. And on your exhale, you're going to lead with your eyes, bring that chin to chest. So I want you to just move in that way. Moving with your breath, leading with your eyes. As you move chin to chest and looking up to the ceiling. So you can go at your own pace. And you can stay right there. Or you could start looking over your shoulder towards your feet. So same thing. You'll breathe in through your nose, let that belly expand. And then as you exhale, you'll lead with your eyes and move to the other side. And just move at your own pace. Drop those shoulders away from your ears, lengthen those legs. And lead with your eyes. So your eyes and your inner ear are part of your vestibular system, which is a system that helps keep us upright. It helps us with spatial orientation. So if you've ever had any issues with an ear infection and started feeling off in your balance, or you notice when you close your eyes, it's hard for you to balance, that's why. So we're going to send some information to our brain by leading with our eyes and stimulating our vestibular system. All right, now I want you to press up to your hands and your knees, wrists under your shoulders, knees under your hips, and we're just going to do some cat-cow. So head to the ceiling, crown of head to the ceiling, let that belly drop and that back arch. And then last thing to move as you round your spine is your head. Look in towards your belly button, chin to chest. Round that spine, press to those hands and those feet. Keep those shoulders dropped away from your ears. Now we'll go back the other direction, moving one vertebrae at a time. Last thing to move is your head. Look towards the ceiling and just flow through this. Again, using your breath through some cat-cow. You can go at your own pace. So you could move with me, you can move slower than me, Whatever is okay. But I want you to go slow and controlled and move with your breath. Maybe you want to turn your fingertips towards you. Maybe you've been typing a lot and this feels really tight and you just want to give a little bit of a stretch. Do what feels good for your body. We'll go one more. And back to neutral. We're going to rock butt over your heels, shoulders over your wrists. We're just going to rock back and forth. Don't mind my creaky floor. And last time. And then come all the way back down to the mat and turn yourself over to your back. So we're going to start again with breathing. So we're going to start our circuit, our strength circuit now with some breathing. But we're going to draw those knees into our chest so our tailbone comes off the ground. And you can leave either your head and shoulders on the ground or you could crunch that chin to your chest. But I want you to go back to that deep diaphragm breathing. When you're breathing in through your nose, letting that belly fully expand 360 degrees. And exhaling through your nose. So again, you can leave your head on the ground or you could crunch chin to chest, but you're lifting your knees to your chest so your tailbone comes off the ground. So we're sending a lot of information to our brain right now as we breathe about our pelvic floor and our diaphragm. So we'll come back to this breathing as we actively recover between our sets. Take one more deep breath. And lower those knees. So I want you to start with a pelvic tilt. You're going to tuck those hips under so your back is flat on the ground. So without driving through your heels, you're going to tuck those hips under. Back is flat. Maintain that contraction in your core. And we're going to start by just marching one knee at a time. So drive that knee up. Now, if this feels easy for you, if you feel like you can maintain that brace in your core and that back flat, you could elevate those knees and stack them over your hips and lower one heel at a time, keeping that back flat on the ground. So as we move, we're thinking about our posture and we're thinking about our breath. So we're still using our breath to support our movement. So again, you could do these heel lowers or you could just march from the floor, maintaining that core brace, maintaining that contact with your back on the ground. We'll do a couple more. And last one. Now I want you to drive through your heels. Tuck those hips under, brace that core, and drive through those heels. We're going to lift our hips off the ground. So we're pressing those knees forward, driving those hips up, squeezing your butt, bracing your core. So I don't want you to push your hips too far up where you then start arching your back. So keep that pelvic tilt. Keep those hips tucked under and keep that core brace. We're just going to hold right here. Keep breathing. And slowly lower back down. We're going to do that again. Drive through those heels. Keep that core brace. Press those hips up. And you're just going to hold right there. Keep breathing. And slowly lower back down. We'll do a couple more. So pelvic tilt, back is flat. Drive through those heels. Squeeze your butt. Tuck those hips under. So my knees are kind of driving forward as my hips are driving up. Core is braced and I'm still breathing. Slowly lower. We'll do one more. Take a rest if you need to. Otherwise, drive those hips right back up and you're going to hold in that bridge. Can you maintain that tension? Can you increase tension as you hold? A lot of times we think we have to have some type of weight or external load to create tension in our muscles, but that is not true. You can create active tension just using your own body weight. So that's what we're doing right here. Squeeze that butt. Drive through those heels. Core is braced. And slowly lower. Now, I want you to grab a block. If you don't have a yoga block, you could use just a pillow. And what you're going to do is you're going to put it between your knees. So we're going to actively keep that core braced. So again, that tilt, right? So instead of having an arch in my back, I'm going to tuck those hips under without driving through my feet and make that back flat on the ground. I'm going to maintain that as I squeeze this block. So I'm driving my knees in towards the block as I'm maintaining that back flat on the ground. Core is braced, squeezing my knees. We're just going to hold here. So if this feels easy for you, you could stack those knees over top of your hips and you're going to squeeze, 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 keep that back flat. We're just going to hold. And keep breathing. Almost. 3, 2, and 1. Slowly lower. Drop that block. We're going to roll onto our hands and our knees. Wrists under our shoulders, knees under our hips. And we're going to do a bird dog. So you could extend opposite arm, opposite leg, hips and shoulders stay square. Feel free to use that block or a book to put on your low back so you have an idea of what's happening at your back. So I don't want you to arch your back to get more space. I want you to maintain that neutral spine. I also don't want you to rotate your hips. So giving yourself a little feedback can be helpful as to what's happening in your torso and through your hip complex. So you're going to extend out opposite arm, opposite leg, and you're going to hold 1, 2, and then lower other side. Extend out that arm and leg. Keep those hips and shoulders square. You're going to hold 1, 2, and slowly lower. So back and forth. Create as much tension as you can in your core. And keep breathing. Keeping those hips and shoulders square, lengthening that opposite arm and leg. And moving with our breath. We'll do a couple more each side. So remember, hips and shoulders stay square. If you don't have a block, you could just grab a book, a small book, and put it on your back to give yourself a little bit of feedback. Because what feels normal for you right now is how you're always moving. So if you are someone who is really tight in your hips, or you haven't practice stabilizing your spine in this way, what might feel normal to you is letting that back sink or rotating at your hips. You might not notice that right now, and that's okay. That block or that book will give you a little bit of feedback. All right, so set that block down. We're gonna move into a crawl. So you have the option of going forward and backward on your hands and knees. We're moving opposite arm and opposite leg, or you can hover those knees off the ground and move opposite arm and opposite leg. So contralateral movement, just in whatever space that you have. It could just be the length of your mat, or it could be longer. We'll go one more time, down and back. And then you're gonna roll back over. We're gonna go right back into that breathing from our backs, knees, draw into our chest. So, other ways you can make this a little harder and just send more feedback to your brain is, as I said before, you could draw that chin to your chest. You could also let one leg come out, and the other leg come out, keeping those hips drawn up. Again, knees to chest, or you could just leave those heads and shoulders on the ground. So we're just going to do a little active recovery. Take some deep breaths in through your nose. Let that belly expand. If your head is on the ground, relax those shoulders away from your ears. Same thing if chin is to chest, relax those shoulders away from your ears. We'll take one more breath, and we're going to do this one more time together. In through your nose, let that belly expand, out through your nose, and slowly lower. So, this time through, tuck those hips under, right? Without pressing through your heels. We'll do the floor marching, or stack those knees over your hips. You could do the heel lowers. You could also make this a dead bug if you wanted, where you're extending opposite arm and opposite leg. So I'm going to do a dead bug this time through. We have a lot of muscles that stabilize our spine, and those should be actively engaged all the time. Same with our pelvic floor. It helps support us as we move, no matter what it is that we're doing. And a lot of times, because of tightness, because of us sitting all the time, because our prime movers are strong enough to keep us upright, we don't think about it anymore, right? If you remember when you were a baby, you learned to crawl and roll and all of those things before you could stand up. And your core needed to be strong for you to be able to do all of those things. Now, our legs are strong, and they could just carry us about our day without thinking about our core. Almost. We'll go one more each side. And then slowly lower. We'll go to those bridges. So now I want you to drive to those heels, press those hips up, and you're going to hold at the top. You could add a weight to your hips. You could add a band around your knees, above your knees rather. But I want you to hold, create tension, squeeze your butt, brace your core. And slowly lower. We'll go back up. Drive to those heels, press those knees forward, tuck those hips under. Squeeze your butt, brace your core. Slowly lower. You got two more. Brace those cores. Squeeze your butts. Drive through those heels. Relax those shoulders away from your ears. Create as much tension as you can. Slowly lower, and last one. So again, you could challenge yourself. You could have a weight on your hips. You could have a band. Maybe you want to just hold some dumbbells or water bottles up here. Or you could leave your hands on the ground. 3, 2, and 1. Slowly lower. Grab that block. We'll do our block squeezes. So block is between your knees. You're going to come back down to the ground. Pelvic tilt. Tuck those hips under first so core is braced. And you're going to squeeze that block as hard as you can. Right? Squeeze that block. So if you want to challenge yourself, you can elevate. You could also challenge yourself even more by adding a knee drive into your hands. So my core is braced, my back is flat.
I'm squeezing this block, and then I'm driving my knees into my hands. So there's a lot going on with this one. If that feels like all of that isn't working together, just either do it elevated or do it here, and you can build your way up, right? So all of that should be coordinated and working together. But if that's not there yet, that's totally okay. So listen to your body. So if you feel like you start to lose tension on the block when you start driving those knees, then don't drive those knees up yet. Just squeeze the block and maintain that core brace. Almost. 3, 2, and 1. All right. Now we're going to flip over to that bird dog. So again, use your block if you need to for some support and some feedback. This time through, I'm going to go one leg at a time. So I'm going to do a bird dog crunch. So feel free to do what we did last time or do what I'm doing this time. So extend out, opposite arm, opposite leg, and then draw that knee and elbow to touch. Again, hips and shoulders stay square. I'm moving slow and controlled. So yes, I could go really quickly through that, but I'm not going to get as much out of it. It's that I'm moving with control. I'm engaging all of these muscles, stabilizing my core, keeping everything square. We'll do a couple more, and then we'll do the other side. All right, other side, same thing. Wrists under your shoulders, knees under your hips. Extend out that opposite arm, opposite leg, hips and shoulders stay square. So what I mean by that is I'm not rotating or I'm not arching my back. So again, hips and shoulders square. Bring that knee to elbow. Extend back out. Grab that block if you feel like you can't tell what's happening at your hips and shoulders and what's happening at your back. Give yourself a little feedback. Or if you don't have a block, just grab a book. A small book will do. Move with your breath. Last one. And then we're going to forward and backward crawl. So set that block down. You can come on your hands and your knees. Moving opposite arm, opposite leg. Or you can hover those knees off the ground. Whatever you want to do. We'll go one more time. And then when you get back, come all the way down to your belly. Fold those hands. Place your forehead on your hands. We'll take a few deep breaths right here. In through your nose. Let that belly expand. Let everything expand. 360 degrees. Exhale through your nose. Breathe at your own pace. Slow down that heart rate if you got it up a little bit with the crawling. Take a few more breaths. And last breath, in through your nose, let everything expand. Deep inhale. Fully exhale through your nose. All right. So if
you felt like that was really easy, you can hit pause and repeat that circuit another time or two. You could also add any type of external load to those exercises, whether it's a band or a dumbbell or a set of dumbbells. And if you need help altering exercises, either regressing them or progressing them, just let me know. But what we did together was working to help stabilize our core everywhere from our diaphragm to our pelvic floor. And there's a lot of different ways you can challenge yourself, and there's a lot of different exercises that you can do to strengthen and stabilize this part of your body, but those are just some of my favorites. So I hope that you guys enjoyed. Let me know if you have any questions. Share this with someone you think would be helpful. And feel free to repeat the circuit multiple times a week. We just went through it twice together, but if you want an extra challenge, do it a couple more times, giving yourself about 30 to 60 second rest with that active recovery breathing in between your sets. So I hope you guys have a great day, and I will see you next time for our quick workouts together.